Hooty hoot, welcome back to another episode of Owl Week for Castaway Anime. I'm Neon Manta,
And I'm Crunchy Bagels.
and we're finally wrapping up coverage of the Owl House Season 2, Season 2B specifically. We're finally caught up in time for Season 3, which will be coming out tonight as the time of this episode going up on YouTube.
I have been spared from the curse of an Owl House fan. I get to watch Season 3 after only a 3-day wait. It's very exciting, especially considering how much I like this show. And it's also been a while since I've really gotten super duper invested in a show and then have been able to participate-ish in the fandom while I'm still super duper hyped about it without okay, so I watched the new season and then there's like a 2-year gap for me to forget about the show. But with this, it's fresh in my mind, and I am excited for the 3rd season, definitely.
Yeah, you were spared the pain of the Owl House hiatus. For now,
Yes.
until Season 3 hiatus kicks in, and then,
Well, yeah,
Tee.
but at least it'll only be a few months in that case. It won't be an entire year.
And if you want to watch us cover Season 3 as it comes out, go ahead and subscribe to the podcast, leave a like on this video, and comment what you think of the Owl House. Because we're covering Season 3, I'm trying to get that episode up almost as fast as Sunday.
You want to prove that my uncle is evil, and you thought I would help?
Well, now that I'm in his mind, I can learn the truth for myself.
Oh, look at this memory. You know, unfettered wild magic wiped out our family. Everyone knew too much and got themselves hurt. That's why Bellows took in the survivors and dedicated his life to making the Coven system. It's why he's so well liked. Our sigils protect us from ourselves and make the Titan happy.
I'm gonna try to, as soon as it's edited, because we have to record the first block of the fall seasonal cast on that same day. So what I'm trying to do is, once I get the audio, I'm gonna edit it all together. Then, I'll edit it, visuals, put it up on YouTube.
So trust me, you definitely want to listen to us talk about the next few episodes of Season 3 as they come out. Because, hey, we'll help tide you over until the inevitable months-long wait.
And then the sadness that will envelop you when the Owl House ends and there will be no more.
Alright, so, epic transition here. Can we talk about how much Disney sucks? Can we just hate on Disney for a bit? Because, alright, so there's one part in this batch of episodes that was really funny to hear and also made me really sad. And I forget the exact episode where it happens, but Luz literally says out loud, we don't, so Eda asks, hey, why don't you go to the beach, relax, have a fun time? And Luz says, I'd do that if I had the time, but we don't have time for 20 more adventures. And the number 20 specifically, it's like, yeah,
That's like a season's
they're
worth.
they're calling out Disney so hard. And
We were denied the Owl House Beach episode. I will burn Disney Corporation to the fucking ground.
there are, I feel like this block of episodes is the first time where I noticed parts where, like, they're not bad, but it's like, that's something that was supposed to probably have been developed further in Season 3, which they didn't really get. They only got 6 episodes worth, essentially. And it's really sad.
I think there was an interview that they did where they explicitly said that Steve, who was the background joke character, and then actually was given a face and a bit of a role in the climax of the finale here. He was supposed to get more development because they don't touch on it in the canon of the show, but he's actually you remember Matholomew?
Matholomew. No, I do not.
He was the guy who was like bullying Gus. He was like the guy who wanted to be the president of the Human
that
Club.
guy.
Yeah, they're
And-
brothers.
Yeah, I noticed they looked very similar, and I didn't know they were brothers specifically, but I did notice that like they're related. So
Yeah, they said that they wanted to dive into that, but they just don't have the time.
there are also a few other things where I'm like, it feels like this was supposed to have more going into it. And I mean, I'm not sure exactly how far I want to go into that point because some of it is very late into the show. And I don't know. How do you want to cover these episodes, I guess?
We could do it like the last podcast and just go in the order of like whatever topic we want to talk about.
All right, so I mean, last podcast we also had the knocking on Hootie's door, which we intentionally put off till the end. So I'm not sure because this is literally like finale-ish stuff. You know, I'll go into it. It's not too deep into the finale. So the Collector, I feel like he was supposed to have a lot more screen time before the finale because I guess I won't go into spoilers just yet, but he has a big role in the finale. And it's kind of all exposited to where Kikimora just explains basically how it all works in one sort of exposition dump to King. It's not a very long exposition dump, but it's like, I feel like that was supposed to be more naturally introduced and that the Collector was supposed to have a lot more screen time, a lot more personality, especially considering that he has a very big role now. Like
He's become the new final boss of the show.
He's basically Bill Cipher again.
Unless Bellos makes a comeback. I wouldn't say he's a Bill Cipher tier villain because that's on God mode. Like I like the Collector, but I feel like we need to spend more time with him. We've literally only got 5 minutes of screen time with him.
So
like
what I mean more so, what I mean by Bill Cipher is that they're sort of similar conceptually, which is that they're these little floating gremlin-y people who have like very immediately sort of like playful, tricksterish personalities, and that they both have godlike powers.
Yeah, fans have already immediately drew parallels between the two, but the way I see it, Bill Cipher is chaotic evil, whereas the Collector is chaotic neutral.
That is absolutely how I would categorize him. And here's something that it's only slightly off topic, which is that the first time, you probably won't resonate with this at all or relate to it, but the first time I saw the Collector, my first thought was, holy shit, it's Dementio from Super Paper Mario.
You know, actually, a lot of people made that comparison when they first saw him.
Dude,
yeah.
Okay, so Super Paper Mario.
It also helped that he was literally flat. He was a shadow
Okay,
man.
So let me just go into this a little bit because Super Paper Mario, right? I say all the time I'm not a big gamer, but that's a little bit of a lie because Super Paper Mario for the Wii is one of my childhood video games. And they're the same character. They're literally the same character. Like, just even design-wise, like, okay, I'm posting this right now. They have the same design motif going on. They have the same personality. They're both very close with the main villain of the story. I've never actually finished Super Paper Mario, so I don't know how Dementio ends up by the end of the story. But I know that throughout the adventure, it was like the super tricksterish, playful, villainous presence. Both of them also talk in like riddles and rhymes. They're the same character.
Yeah, I'm now that I'm like looking at him even more now. It's literally the same character. even down to the color scheme to his clothes when he is finally free. It's almost 1-to-1.
They're just the same. That isn't a problem because it did make me immediately resonate with him and know like, okay, this is the type of character they're crafting. But it's just interesting to point out, and it made me even more nostalgic for Super Paper Mario because I need to replay it so bad. I miss it. But that is, I digress.
Well, that's one more thing to throw onto the never-ending pile of potential podcast ideas.
I literally bought a Wii recently just so that I can play the disc of Super Paper Mario I have lying around. So...
you only have the disc, you don't even have the case?
Oh, I have the case. Well, I don't think it's the case it's supposed to come in, but it is a
is it just
case.
Like a normal disc case?
Yeah, it's a blank case.
Oh, you poor bastard.
Yeah, someday I will beat Super Paper Mario. Me swears it. So
I think I'm not 100% sure. I think I own Super Paper Mario. I would have to check. I'd have to open up my closet. I've got too many fucking games, dude.
yeah, it's the one it's where they started hating the series, but screw all of those people. It's good. It's good. Okay, but I digress even harder.
So, going back to the collector. Dana is like a fucking master when it comes to getting you invested in characters you've just met. Because when you're talking about how you instantly resonated with the collector based on the design, his design is based, but just seeing him be at first he's presented as like an evil guy because he's helping Bellows with his plan in the Day of Unity, and he's talking about you gotta free me so we can watch all the witches die, and it'd be funny to see them all die, and you hear that and you think, oh, this dude's like he's a bad guy. He probably wants to like bring about the chaos to all the realms, kind of even more similar to Bill Cipher. But then we get to the finale and we see it's not that he like has malicious intent. It's that he is only like in it for literally for fun. He is literally a child that just so happened to have godlike powers. And because of this, he's just he's a bit of a brat, and like only wants to do what he wants to do, and he'll switch sides instantly just because well, he turned on Bellows because Bellows backstabbed him, but he's very willing to throw any alliance he has aside only to if it means he's going to have more fun. And
yeah,
that makes him like an world is a giant plaything to him, as evidenced when all he does, he looks and points at the moon and he moves it with his mind.
That is probably my favorite the collector moment. God, I hate calling him the collector because in my mind I just immediately want to call him Dementio. Because the collector is like the least catchy name ever, but the collector, and he literally moves the moon with ungodly psychic powers, and it's great.
He does it effortlessly. He does it like a joke. He just goes, "Okay, boop." He points.
Yeah,
at
he
it,
literally
and he
says
moves
boop.
the eclipse out.
That's part of what makes it such a great moment. It's just like boop, and then
it's like
boop,
it's instantly
it
like
goes.
the strongest feat. Like it's the biggest feat of strength that we've seen on the show thus far. Like no character has done anything remotely close to that strong, and it gets you thinking like, oh shit, if this kid's supposed to be the final boss, literally what chance do our heroes stand?
He turns
How are they gonna
Bellows
beat this
into
guy?
mush. He just throws him against the wall and he's pulverized.
His introduction after he is free, he catches the berserker form of the main villain and then one-shots him.
All right, Neon, know that this has a lot of weight when I say it. He might be stronger than Hootie.
That's gonna be the true climax. And
Yeah.
Hootie shows he's the one pulling the strings the whole time, and then they have the Godzilla versus King Kong fight that tears apart both realms, the multiverse.
I will say, all right, so Bellows is probably coming back. If I had to guess what is more likely, he's probably coming back because they aren't just gonna kill Bellows like that. I mean, maybe they are.
Well, we do see at the very, very end of the credit sequence of the final episode of the season that the door closes to that shack that they came out of, and the goop, the Bellows goop, was the one that closed the door, I think, and also because a little bit of it got splashed onto Hunter and is probably latching itself onto him.
Did I commit an Owl House crime? Because I don't remember this scene, and I also don't remember if I skipped over the ending. I might have. I committed an Owl House
skipped
crime.
over the credit sequence in a non-traditional Owl House credit sequence, you fool.
I think I just committed the ultimate crime. I'm gonna have to commit seppuku for this. I need to atone.
Disembowel yourself right now.
Yeah.
You don't remember when all of the kids are rushing through the door to escape the Owl House game from the collector, and then a bit of the Hunter goop splashes
I do
onto...
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one I did not
happens.
miss. So he's probably still alive.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I don't have any doubt. He's gonna make a comeback.
I guess I just,
The
I
question is,
definitely
to what
like,
degree?
I definitely like the Collector, but I'm not sure if I like him enough to where like I'm excited about him being the final boss, or what is essentially the final boss. Obviously, Belos is still going to be there, you know, and he's definitely the
Yeah,
villain I'm more invested in
that's
at this point.
that's the big question going into the season 3. Is the Collector going to be the big bad that we have to beat, or is Belos going to supplant him at the last second, or is Belos going to be like a minor roadblock on the way to the Collector?
I think the Collector is going to be the final boss because he has powers so insurmountably more powerful than anyone we've seen so far. And it's like, okay, in power alone, that to me signals that he's going to be the final boss. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. The finale could make it work, but this is where the screw Disney stuff comes in. It shouldn't have been like this.
Well, yeah,
It's
see,
Disney's fault.
the only problem that the Collector faces from a narrative standpoint right now is like he's a cool concept and he is a definite threat and he's very imposing. It's like they got him to be threatening and imposing despite him just acting and behaving like a child. It's just that because he has all of these powers at his like overwhelming powers at his fingertips and he doesn't even really care. He doesn't make a big deal out of it. That just adds on to how threatening he is. Like all of the kids are like scared shitless when they see how he effortlessly one-shots Belos, and then they see him move the moon and they're like, what the fuck? How did he do that?
See,
And they're all just terrified of what he could do.
Yeah, here's the thing with the Collector, which is that he should be a Bill Cipher tier villain in terms of like great writing and instant presence. But Bill Cipher had an entire season of being built up, whereas the Collector, he appears a few times throughout the latter half of this season, but he only really comes into his own at the very end. And I feel like that could have
And it's
been
the last 5 minutes of the season 2 finale.
Yeah. And it's like, Disney, why? This should have been, I feel like if they had all the time in the world, this would have been like a partway through season 3 sort of event.
Yeah, you can tell that they wanted to do more with the Collector, but the
rat strikes again.
I am at least satisfied with what they have shown us so far. Like I don't feel robbed that no, Belos, he's getting swept under the rug. Now we've got like an even bigger threat. They're not like artificially raising the stakes by just replacing one bad guy with a bigger bad guy, and he's even more powerful. Therefore, he is more narratively important.
It's
they're not
definitely
pulling that.
Yeah, it's definitely not that. The Collector was clearly always intended to be this big, super powerful guy with like an instant staying presence, who's supposed to be like he feels natural within the narrative, like a natural escalation of the threat. But
See,
it's
what
just that Belos had
is
more time. He was always a presence in the series, and it's like, well, obviously, I'm going to be more invested in Belos.
Here's my big question. What does he collect? I don't think they ever actually touched on that.
Maybe they'll go into it in season 3, but yeah, as of this season, they have not explained that at all.
Because one thing that they mention and they touch on is that I'm pretty sure that this is the same character. Remember in knocking on Hootie's door in the flashback that Eda has in her dream when she sees like the history of the owl beast curse and how it wasn't always a curse, it was like a living beast that just got captured and turned into a curse.
Yeah, I remember all that.
I'm pretty sure that the person who did that to him was the Collector.
Oh,
Because it's that hooded figure that has the star and the moon shaped designed hood. So if it was, I'm pretty sure,
like,
and I'm pretty sure it was also you
memories
can
of
hear
that.
a child's laughter. You can hear him laughing as he does it.
God, I'm so tempted to go check the episode now, because Yeah, that sounds right, but I'm also not 100% sure.
Cause like I'm trying to figure out what he collects. Like my two theories are that he like collects rare magic things, but then it also doesn't explain how why would he go through all the trouble of turning the owl beast into some kind of curse to be put onto someone else if he collects things for himself. My main theory is that he collects realms. Like I thought he because of like the star, the moon, and the sun designs that he has all over him, which are like symbolic of like solar systems. I thought that he went from like planet to. They also explicitly say in that Kikimora exposition dump that he is a child from the stars, which implies that he has possibly alien heritage of some kind, or rather, he's like some kind of celestial god of magic. That I thought he went around like if not world to world within the demon realm, then maybe he goes through other realms because there's a human realm and there's a demon realm. Who's to say we've already set a precedent that there are multiple realms? Who's to say that there's not more than two?
Your theory is fairly compelling, and if it is the true theory, then I mean that would just make the Dementio comparisons even more apparent because the first half of Dementio's name is literally dimension, i.e., realm. So
And yeah, I think that's as far as I like. Oh yeah, no, there's one more big problem with the collector narratively is that of him replacing Bellows that they can easily rectify in season 3 if they like develop him a little more, tell us more exactly what his deal is. But Bellows worked so well because he was like a foil to Luz. Like they're both humans from the human realm, as it turns out, and they have this fascination with witches, but on the complete opposite ends of the spectrum. Luz is like adores witches and magic and wants to like become one because she feels like she doesn't fit in the human realm. Bellows despises witches and magic and only becomes one in order to kill them all to be the savior of humanity so he can find his way back home and rid humanity of any possible influence or invasion of the witches of magic kind.
I guess I don't necessarily have a problem with the collector not being a foil. I feel like the
Because
personality
like
could work.
what's his stake in the narrative? Like what's his connection to our heroes?
I guess it's just that he threatens the existence of the Boiling Islands, but like I also do feel like Bellows did it in a
Yeah,
more
but
interesting way.
that's like the kind of explanation you give to a low tier Marvel villain, and like the Owl House is above that shit.
Yeah, I feel like it could be rectified in season 3, but also see, here's my thing. All right, so first of all, screw the rat, and secondly, the idea of wrapping this all up in a neat little bow in these next essentially 6 episodes, it just seems preposterous to me. Like
I know, right? Like I can't. It's so hard for me to imagine a timeline where they even with the 3 double length episodes, which basically translates to 6 episodes worth of content. I can't imagine a timeline where they wrap up the entire story in a satisfying, meaningful, narrative, conclusive way without like so much missed potential or like not being able to make some weak aspects strong and the strong aspects even stronger.
I mean, I guess we can get like a serviceable conclusion to the story where it's like,
I,
oh yeah,
I have
I'm
no
satisfied
fear
with
that's
that.
gonna be a bad ending. I just
Well,
feel like
it's definitely not gonna be bad.
be. I feel like it's not gonna be as good as it could be, or like it can't possibly live up to the overwhelming perfection that has been pretty much the entirety of season 2.
It really sucks because see, the Owl House is a story that's fairly large in scope. I'd say you have like each character has a thing going on that needs to be resolved, or at least can be developed even further.
Willow
It's
and
got
Gus are
this,
characters now. It's crazy.
yeah, and like they've got this brand new villain. So essentially, two villainous presences, or I guess two big bads in the series, and it's like there's so much more to do with them. It doesn't feel like almost the end, at least to me. It feels like, I mean, plot wise, we're almost at the end, but it feels like the plot should have been developing a little slower than this. You know, give it a little more time to be fleshed out and say all the things the series wants to say and explore all the different facets to the characters.
Maybe if we had time for 20 more adventures, but we don't.
Yeah, the writers have all the same opinions we have, I'm sure. I know they're screaming to tell the story they want to tell and are just cursing the rat under their breath.
I think that's about enough of the collector. We speaking of Willow and Gus being characters now, they are. Let's talk about them.
Yeah, so
Let's talk about the engoodening of Willow and how now you like her.
alright, so trying to remember the exact episodes where it happened.
She gets this cool moment with Amity in episode 11 with the Coven Day Parade episode where Amity is trying to like she's having this dilemma over Luz because she could tell she's not being honest with her, and she accidentally left her phone with Amity, and she can look through the video diary that she's been making and like figure out all of for herself, but based Amity doesn't want to invade her privacy of her girlfriend because she's a fucking sweetheart. And even though it's like right in the palm of her hand and she can get all the answers that she wants, but she's too much of a good girl to, you know, invade her girlfriend's privacy. So she goes over to Willow for advice, and Willow's like, "All right, if you want to help me, if you want me to help you, you gotta help me first, Blight." Do you remember how to braid hair?
I loved that I think I rewatched that moment. Literally winded
I love
it back
I love when
just
she
to
sits
see it
down, she like
again.
slaps her feet on the floor.
That, I want that as a GIF. That needs, it probably already is. It's such
it's so cute.
yeah. It's so good.
And they have this like little moment where it's like, I'm glad we could talk like this again. And it's like it made me so happy the first time I saw this episode, being like, oh my god, they're not just gonna like pretend that now that Amity is cool again is cool with Luz, now she's cool with Willow without ever having to bring up their history again. No, they actually dive into it, and they dive into it a little more in fucking, what was it called? Labyrinth Runners.
Why are we talking about Labyrinth Runners? Is that one of the episode titles?
Yeah, that was the episode where Amity is like trying to protect Willow, being like, listen, I'm sorry that I've like I bullied you before, and I'm trying to make up for it by like protecting you and like doing all these things I didn't do for you before. And Willow's like, I don't want you to view me as like something to protect. I want you to view me as an equal. I could take care of myself because I got a lot stronger since you left me.
Episode 18 was probably one of my favorites of the block, because specifically for Willow and Gus, like just by because Luz pretty much isn't in the episode.
No, I think that's like the one episode Luz isn't in.
Yeah, pretty much the only one in the entire series, if I remember correctly. And it gives time for Willow and Gus to really shine, especially their friendship with each other, where one of the main plot points of the episode is that back in ye olden days of Willow and Gus meeting each other for the first time, Gus is basically, you know, freaking out over people mistreating him because he's a child, he's gullible, he isn't quite as mature as everyone else around him, sort of feels out of his depth. And, people basically use that to take advantage of him because, he's smart, he's a bright little kid, and they use it to, get him to help with homework or whatever. And Gus ends up overhearing people who he thought were his friends trash talking him. And he runs into this classroom and, sits down next to the, right next to one of the desks and just basically goes fetal position and is like,
Becomes Sans Undertale.
yeah. I literally have that in my notes. Although in this specific flashback, both his eyes are blue and he's projecting all these different illusions around him. And Willow comes in and she's like, "Yo, you seem upset. Here, I can help you, dude."
You know
And
how to breathe, kid?
They're going full Demon Slayer, learning how to breathe. And
It is a really fucking cute moment seeing, first of all, young Willow, precious.
oh,
Must be
absolutely
protected.
adorable. And
Second,
secondly-
her like comforting Gus by teaching him the breathing thing and counting while doing it. So cute, so good.
Yeah, it definitely makes Willow a more likable character and sort of retroactively makes Gus's and Willow's friendship feel a lot more meaningful because it's like, oh, they really do have each other's backs, both physically and emotionally. And also, can I just talk about how great it is that the Owl House is willing to show its characters in enough distress to where they're basically using, like, the sort of methods you'd use to survive a panic attack, essentially. Like,
You
breathing
mean like
methods.
when Hunter literally has one at the end of
Yeah.
Hollow Mind?
No, he has
And
two-
it's the like
he
the
has, like,
most
two
earnest
panic-
performance in the entire show.
Hunter literally has like two separate, what is basically a panic attack. And one of them, Gus, is teaching him the breathing method, and that manages to get him back to reality. And it's like, it literally is just a method to survive a panic attack, because it's literally the same.
Yeah, but actually the show promotes LGBT and therefore it is the spawn of Satan and should be banned.
Dude, every kid needs to see Hunter freaking out and Gus being like, okay, look, just take a deep breath, try and get yourself back to reality. Literally, the panic attack survival method I know is like, just remember, like, say something you can taste, feel, hear,
Imagine
and
the
see.
feather.
Also that.
Where my Celeste head's at. What so like if you do all of those techniques at once, you just like find like true inner peace, you just become the Buddha.
Basically.
I
I can't argue with that logic.
I will find my inner sanctum. Yeah, Willow, and it's what's cute about Willow that like now that she like look back throughout the entire history of the series, it's cool how like she's everyone's first friend of like the main cast of the Hexside squad. She's Luz's first friend she meets in the school setting. She's Gus's first friend he makes at Hexside. She's pretty much Amity's first friend when she was a kid, and she's also the first person to really open up and befriend Hunter, because even Luz was like not on a friendly term with him at first.
Now that you mentioned that, that is true, and I think it does say something about Willow's character, to where she is
She's
very...
the emotional glue that keeps them all together.
Yeah, she's...
And I hope they touch on that in these episodes. I really hope that they don't sideline Willow and Gus, and to an extension V, because I also can't imagine how those three's role in the narrative is going to be in when faced up with Luz, Amity, and Hunter.
The Rat Man.
Just
I
don't
really
sideline
hope-
them.
Yeah.
You can easily, any arc that you have Hunter go through, you can easily put Amity and Gus in the middle of it too, because
See-
they're pretty much their own friends now. Hunter and Gus are basically brothers.
Yeah, they're bros. They are super close, which is, by the way, super endearing character dynamic, super endearing friendship. I'm just imagining though. Uh, I know we already sort of went over this, but like you saying like, "Oh, I really hope this character gets in the finale. I hope they get a role. I hope they don't get sidelined." And I'm just imagining the finale having to do all that in 6 episodes, and it's like it's doable, but God, Disney, why? It could have been so much more.
Well, you put enough pressure on a coal, it'll turn into a diamond. So let's see. We'll see how the crew performs under this much pressure. But I have like 90% faith that's gonna turn out great.
I think it'll be at least workable. I think it'll be fine at least. But we've sort of already went over that, and yeah, I tend to be pessimistic about this stuff, but I don't know. I'm still looking forward to it. Can we talk about how randomly some of the Emperor's guards just turn out really likable? There's obviously Steve.
Are you talking about Severine?
Yeah, I think that's. Yeah, I think that's her name.
The one from the girl from Labyrinth Runners who constantly gets picked on by all the Emperor's Coven members. Like, you know what? I can only take so much abuse and stress in the workplace. I fucking quit.
I literally have the quote on my Google Doc where it's like, all right, so this is the exact quote. "It has been a rough year, and my self-esteem can only take so much. I quit." And then everyone at the school just starts clapping.
Fun fact, you might have picked up on it if you paid enough attention. Her voice is also Dana Terrace.
I did notice that. And
I can't help but wonder if maybe at some point, maybe that's somewhat directed towards the rat.
yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna call it Disney anymore. Just call it the Rat. That is how I solely will refer to Disney from now on. The Rat. And obviously, there's Steve. Everyone loves Steve.
Steve's a good boy, dude. Like the fandom at large kind of popped off when they unmasked Steve, and like, because we thought he was just gonna be like a comedy character, like he's gonna be one of the faceless, masked up Emperor's Guards guys, and he just happens to be the only named one that has like the comedic lines. But no, he's an actual guy with like actual goals in life, or like at least he did at first, but now he's trying to just he goes on a trip with King to find himself.
Yeah, that he's so endearing. Like, okay, so the first episode he appears in, episode 13, I literally quoted all his lines. Like, the first one, so the context is Hunter has basically imprisoned Willow and the rest of the team she's forming, sort of, both intentionally and unintentionally. He didn't realize how bad his actions would, like how much trouble his actions would get them into, and he's sort of upset. Like he sort of understands their anger, but at the same time he's like, sort of chewing one of them out for punching one of the Emperor's guards, and that guard happens to be Steve. And he's like,
it's okay, tensions were high. Ice pack for Steve.
Ice pack for Steve is one of the most oddly humorous lines in existence. The fact that he just refers to himself like solely in third person, yeah.
He wears a shirt that just says Steve.
He's so cool. And then at the end of the episode, he's like, Steve is beginning to regret his choices.
And that's not just a throwaway comedic line. That actually comes back in the narrative.
It's literally
How cool
a plot point. It's like, I quoted that before it was relevant because it was funny. And then it ended up happening. And it's like...
The show is rewarding and respecting your intelligence and your investment in it. It's paying back every bit of investment you gave it.
And that's what is so great about the Owl House. Getting invested is consistently rewarded. Like, you want to be invested in this world because it's unique and the characters are all likable and endearing and super fun and have actual depth.
You don't even get a choice whether you want to be invested or not. It forces you to be invested.
Yeah,
And not in a bad way, but it's just because the characters are just so good and compelling that you have no choice but to like them.
so you were talking about in the last episode of the podcast about how you might like Luz might be your favorite character by the end of the season. At first, like during the first block of episodes of this season, I was like, maybe maybe that'll happen, but so far Eda's clearing Luz. Pretty much from the get-go in this block of episodes, they really tried their best to make Luz just so uh like basically giving her a bunch of depth and making her super endearing and giving her more I guess the main thing this block of episodes does for her is put her through emotional stress. And we get this
What happens to Luz is what I like to call she goes through the Natsuki Subaru arc, except unlike Natsuki Subaru, it's actually good.
Don't throw around anything about ReZero when talking about this show. How could you? So episode 11 basically immediately puts Luz stressing out about her mom in the human world and what she said to her, and about trying to balance both wanting to stay in the Boiling Isles and also wanting to get back with her mom. And by the way, episode 11, can I just say that it is good on its own merits for just being such an ominous episode, because at the very end they learn that like Belos wants to meet Luz, and Eda thinks that I think this is the episode where Eda thinks that Rain is getting mind controlled, right? It's episode 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's basically those two things in tandem with each other. There's like this, the entire episode has this sort of melancholic feel, which really fits with Luz going through the pain of wondering like, what will I do? And it gets ramped up to 11 in episode 14, where it's revealed that Luz's dad is not here anymore. Very much dead.
This
unalived.
entire time, Luz has been exhibiting fatherless behavior, and we didn't know it till now.
Sort of recontextualizes it. You were literally telling... You pointed this out in the last podcast as well. And I honestly didn't expect them to get into it, and then they did, and I was like, oh, this is what he was talking about.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna the fandom was like in two minds, because like they knew that the lack of a father figure at the Noceda household was suspicious. So the fandom was like, all right, it's either one of two things, either divorce or he died at some point. And yeah, it was door number 2.
So episode 14 in general is just great because... So one of the main things this block of episode in particular seems to be promoting is the idea of like letting other people help shoulder your emotional burdens, where you don't have to keep it up all locked up inside. You can...
No witch is an island.
Yeah, you're allowed...
Quote Hootie.
Hootie spitting the real words of wisdom. And
spitting straight facts, yo.
And Luz consistently sort of keeps stuff to herself when she's conflicted about whether she wants to stay at the Boiling Islands or whether she wants to meet her mom, and when she's going through just the tragedy of seeing her mom cry and misunderstand her intentions and think that she ditched her when she admittedly kind of did ditch her. And, Luz keeps that bottled up inside until at the end of the episode, she ends up telling Eda and King about it. And in this episode, it's the anniversary of her father's death. And normally she has this ritual she does with her mom, where they pick flowers and I think put it on his gravestone, sort of like normal mourning stuff. And Luz, she just keeps on brushing it off as unimportant, which... Oh yeah, and there's another thing about this episode relating to Luz that I really related to, which is that, like, she needs to keep on doing things, or else she'll just start thinking about it and it'll overwhelm and paralyze her. where she's like,
Literally, I'm in this show and I don't like it.
literally that exact thing for me, where it's like, I tend to overthink things all the time, and the only way to stop overthinking is to get pushed into a situation where I just need to start doing things instead of thinking about them. And Luz, literally just exact poster of me here, trying to distract her thoughts from that of her father and, the pain of that and how she can't do the ceremony with her mom this year. And at first, it's about helping Amity. Uh, Literally, Amity bursts into the owl house like, "Hey, Luz, I have this thing that's gonna take all day to do. Can you help me with it?" And Luz is like, "Tell me all about it. I need to hear this right now. Tell me, literally, go on as long as you want. Just keep on telling me about it. Keep on talking." And Luz eventually gets into this adventure of helping Amity participate in the brawl, and she does that. And then when Amity finally enters the brawl and Luz is sort of a spectator, she's like, "Well, I can't have this. I need to keep on doing things or else I'll think about this." And so she does the brawl, and just like she refuses to tell anyone what's actually going on with her until eventually, until she basically absolutely has to, when Amne's like, "You keep on lying to me and I need to know what's really going on." And I think on the whole it's a very powerful episode.
It's one of the emotional high points of the entire show. It was also the very exact episode where where I started thinking, holy shit, is Luz actually the best character in the show? Because she was like rocketing up my favorites list after this. Because just seeing her like try almost desperately, like even to like a self-destructive degree that almost like might have even costed her girlfriend if she wasn't careful, and also wasn't so lucky that Amity was like so understanding of her. Uh, is going through all of these like different self-destructive tendencies and habits to I gotta keep the bad thoughts away. If I just distract myself, if I throw myself into someone else's problems and just like busy myself with projects, with like learning glyphs and learning about like the Day of Unity, and not have to think about anything else, anything about my father being dead and me not being able to mourn him with my mom, and like all of the things that like just being reminded of your dead parent would entail. And she's trying to she's got to bottle it up, push the bad thoughts down. They're not able to escape. And then when they finally come out and she's like allowing herself to be vulnerable, she tries to like play it off and be like, "You know what? It's like her exact lines are like, I don't talk about this because it like happened a long time ago and it's not an issue anymore. Like, you don't even worry about it. But yeah, my dad's dead. And like, it doesn't excuse what I've done. It's like, I'm not using it as an excuse for my behavior." And the way Amity looks at her, like when she breaks the news, and then the way Luz looks back, and it's just like immediately like caught off guard by how understanding she is. And then my absolute favorite moment, the one that's like, holy fucking shit, dude, when Luz tries to go after Amity when there's like trouble back at the brawl, and her knees literally give out on her.
That moment
and she's like,
is
well,
so great.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry, I can't really move right now. I'll catch up. And then Amity just like without even really thinking about it, turns and be like, "I don't know what you do in the human realm, but if you want to pick flowers for your dad, I'll help you pick some flowers and we'll do something here." And like the blush is cute, but like the look that Luz gives to Amity, being like, how the fuck did I like meet the most perfect person in the world? Like, that is fucking true love.
Dude, I love the specific way Luz, like you were saying, sort of like tries to write it off as not a big deal, and like keeps on trying to sort of lighten the mood, not wanting it to get heavy at all. She literally says, yeah, I guess I have a case of the jelly legs, haha." And Amity just looks, not laughing at the joke, not, she's like actually invested in Luz's problems, and it's like, but Luz, almost instinctively just keeps on trying to keep things light and brisk and fluffy and not get too emotional because she doesn't want to drag other people into her problems, and because I guess she isn't used to being vulnerable about that specific subject, or really not used to feeling.
Remember, she didn't really have any. She had no friends before she came to the demon realm. The only person she could talk to about this was her mom, which, like, yeah, she'd be understanding, of course, but she also is the only person who would also like be hurting from it as much as she would, because that was her husband.
Yeah.
And it's like Luz is just trying to like cope with all her shit and feels like no one would understand her. And now that she finally has and not just like for stuff about her dad, like just her whole like obsession with fantasy and like the things she likes, because her mom didn't even share this like love of fantasy with her, and because she had no friends, she had no one to partake in these hobbies with. But now that she has people in her life in the demon realm that help her and like actually care about her, she's straight up not used to what it's like, and it's like the first time she's felt genuine connections with people.
Yeah, it's like all new to her, and so
it's so fucking good.
Yeah, she's still sort of wrangling with that in her mind, and also
it's hard for her to believe that she has someone so understanding in her life, and how like she thought maybe it would have taken Amity a long time to forgiven her, and like she holds herself in like this low place because she's just so used to it in the human realm. No, Amity is like, once again, the Lumity being the OTP of life, and seeing these two people, it's not just that they're a cute couple, it's that they fucking complete each other.
Yeah, it's great. And
they raise each other up.
Another thing is just that Luz is going through probably more emotional stress now, like in this block of episodes, than pretty much any other time in her life. Maybe like right after.
This is just the shit about her father. That shit, like, yeah, that hits, but it gets quickly supplanted by like, oh man, I'm sad about my dad dying and I can't properly mourn him with my mom, to being like, oh shit, I think I just caused the apocalypse and the death of all of my friends.
It's like,
I think I'm about to have all of this blood on my hands.
Things get real in this block of episodes, where, like, by the end, Luz is in this almost constant state of being stressed and trying to do the right thing to the best of her ability and trying to make it through. Pretty much everyone by the end of the season is in a state of being incredibly stressed and unhappy and trying to cope with their new reality and trying to make it out the other side without the entire boiling islands getting destroyed. And I like that the show is willing to portray
it's
that.
A lot for a kid.
It's a lot for anyone, actually. Oh yeah, the entire fate of the world is in you and your friends' hands. Yeah, good luck, man.
Well, no, it's like, it's especially apparent because Eda, in like this really cool development, is like being like, man, Luz doesn't fucking deserve this. She's just a kid. She should be able to live out her childhood without all like the stress, the weight of the world on her shoulders, quite literally.
Eda gets so many worried mom moments in this block of episodes, and it's always so great to watch because it's like, it's just...
there are several moments where she just straight up refers to her now, like, bluntly as her kid.
Yeah, it's absolutely great. And Eda, like, I just especially love the worried mom moments because that's just so specific, but so emotionally resonant as well. Where it's like, that to me is, aside from Luz's whole thing, that to me is like, those scenes always hit, man.
One of the notes that I took as I was like live posting and reacting to each episode as they came out was immediately after Luz makes the face to Amity when she says she'll help her pick flowers for her dad in the demon realm. My the line that I wrote is, imagine canceling a show over this. literally could never be me.
The rat strikes again. We should
I
just
want to save the biggest episode for last, and I just want to touch on all of these other aspects before we get into the big boy. Doubling back real quick to Willow, which we can transition. Well, actually, that will provide a better segue to the big boy episode. So well, we're already on the subject of Eda. Let's talk about Eda some more.
yeah. So trying to actually
Is she
think of
still your
things to
favorite
say.
character?
It is definitely up in the air at this point.
Yeah,
She
that's
definitely
a good
gets-
question now because I'm saying right now Luz is probably my favorite character in the Owl House after all this, just because she's going through the most interesting arc. But like it's my favorites like changed like throughout the entirety of the show.
I mean, mine kind of has too. Where at first it was King through pretty much most of the first season, and then it was Eda, and now it's sort of a toss up between Eda and Luz, because Eda does get a bit of, well, it's mostly a continuation of her previous problems until the finale, where she misses Rain, needs to. Oh well, there is the thing of her thinking Rain is mind controlled and being like, why can't I get through to you, Rain? Why are you all of a sudden on the Emperor's side? And being like, Eda, I need to further the Emperor's plans. Oh, by the
I'm
way,
sorry, Eda. You're just too you're just too bisexual for me. I can't do it. I'm homophobic.
Okay, so this is sort of on topic. Did they ever explain why Rain isn't affected by the mind controlling, or at least heavily implied to be mind controlling T?
So we find out in the episode 11 that he is like it's seemingly under some kind of mind control, but we find out at the end of the flashback episode with Eda and Rain's childhood, when they met for the first time, and that Rain is able to use their bard magic to, at first we just see it to make drinks taste better, but now we see when the plant coven head Terra is trying to mind control him with them, my bad, with like special mind control elixir or some shit. A tea. I'm pretty sure that's
Yeah,
what
it's
Terra was
tea.
using when she's using tea, and Rain blows on it. Rain is actually doing bard magic on it to, probably I guess undo the mind control and let them think that they're under their Terra's control, but in actuality they have their autonomy still. But then we find out that Rain was because of that, Rain was putting on this guise of being mind controlled, not just to fool the Emperor's Coven, but to fool Eda as well, to keep her away and out of the plans with the Day of Unity in an effort to keep her safe.
Yeah. Okay, so that makes sense as an explanation. I don't know how I didn't get that, but okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, you didn't you notice that when Terra tried to give Rain more of that tea, and when Rain said they had a splitting headache, every time Rain went to drink from it, they did the little blowing thing, and you could hear the whistling of their bard magic that we saw in the flashback.
No. I
Well.
didn't notice that.
Sounds like someone wasn't paying enough attention.
I thought I was paying pretty good attention, voice crack. I thought I was, but apparently not.
Their flashback episode, by the way, Dana has gone on record multiple times saying that if she were to ever make a spin-off show of the Owl House, young Eda adventures with Rain and Lilith and more young cast members, like young versions of the cast members rather, like Darius and Alador and Odalia, that would be her go-to. She wants to make more Eda and Rain episodes.
So this is the episode I was telling you about this in the group chat, or I guess the hosts only chat, which is that this was the episode that I thought was half over, when it was actually over. Because I thought it was going to... Okay, so this is mostly the sort of episode that I generally don't like in cartoons, where it goes into a sort of unrelated story, mostly a flashback, or at least these stories tend to be flashbacks most of the time. Like, it isn't absolutely necessary for the plot. This one I thought was actually pretty good, though, which is because, I mean, first of all, it made me more invested in Rain as a character, which is important because Rain has a fairly big role in the finale of this season. And two, it's just a fun episode because Eda... I guess this is another
Young
Eda
Eda
moment.
is unhinged.
Yeah, okay, so I have this line quoted, which is basically sums up Eda as a child, which is, so the now principal of the school, he gives Eda this squeezy toy, and he's like, all right, anytime you feel the urge to cause chaos, just squeeze. And Eda immediately starts squeezing it so hard it just bursts. And it's it's like her entire life at this point revolves around just completely causing chaos to... Oh my god.
That's my favorite screenshot from that episode, where vice principal Bump at the time was like, can you go like 5 minutes without setting anything on fire? And she's immediately just like making fire magic and staring at it like intensely.
She's an arsonist. These are literally symptoms
She wants
of
to watch
being
the
a
world
future
burn.
Yeah. I just love this. I put Dementio in general. I did not mean to do that. Well, anyway.
Whoops. It's almost like she was destined to be the owl lady, even if she never gotten cursed.
Yeah, it's like her entire... I just love this idea of this child who's constantly causing chaos everywhere. And we even see during the montage of Eda and Rain helping each other out during the contest, which is that Eda's always there just sort of messing around, doing whatever seems like the funniest prank to her. At one point, she literally fakes her own death in front of a bunch of people and makes
that was also the other best moment of that show.
Yeah.
That episode where they do trust falls, and he's just like, oh, fine, catch me. And then the slime guy's trying to catch her. And then she falls through and does illusion magic on herself to make it look like all her skin and flesh melted off, and she's just a skeleton. And the funniest part of that whole thing, while everyone's screaming, is that the slime guy's going like, oh, not again, implying that he has actually killed people accidentally before.
Oh my god. It's great.
Fucking god tier joke.
I absolutely... like, Dana Terrace's desire to make a spin-off show based off of chaotic, neutral Eda is just... I absolutely agree. I want to see more of Eda being like this. I want an entire episode staked around Eda pulling off one of her big pranks, where I want to see the time she turns the school inside out, which is canon right now. I want to know what that actually entails. What does that look like?
Remember, I forget which episode it was. I think it was the detention episode, where Eda's trying to get Luz officially into Hexside, where... Oh no, it was the human one, where the human club one, where Luz was sneaking into Hexside to help Gus in the human club, and Eda's trying to do all these things for Bump to undo all her pranks, clean up after her messes to get Luz into school, and at the end of that episode, we see all of those like the montage of the flashbacks of her detention reports of all the things that she'd done. Those could all be episodes of that spin-off show.
I would
that
absolutely watch
hypothetical spin-off show of young Eda.
Oh yeah, and can I just talk about how in episode 15 they introduce the most instantly likable and hateable character simultaneously, which is the uber strict to a ridiculous degree demonic principal, who's the principal now instead of...
he could have like been the final boss of the show. He could have just been Satan.
Yeah, like in this hypothetical spin-off, he would probably be the mega villain. The mega villain that Hootie will become. I'm still writing on that theory.
He's literally just a demon from hell. There's no other way to you could argue that all the other demons we've seen are cutesified and could pass for cartoon characters. This guy's just a hellspawn demon.
I love at the beginning of the episode where he's like, "These students are late to being early," and gives everyone detentions and suspensions. And Eda Eda and Lilith are going to school. They're slightly later than usual, but still supposedly on time, except for their principal gets in the way. And Eda takes them into the school through this little secret passage, except Eda, instead of Lilith, gets caught outside the school, and the principal takes her to the office in order to expel her. And
I might be misremembering this. Do they make a joke with his horns and how they're always getting caught on door frames?
no. They do.
Okay, I could have
sort of.
I could have sworn there was a scene of him walking through a door frame, and they had to especially make room for his horns in the door frame.
If
Or
they had it,
I might
didn't
be
notice it.
if they I want to say that was a thing. I might be thinking of something completely unrelated to the Owl House, a joke I've seen somewhere before, but I'm only saying that because I thought it was from this because he would be the kind of character you do that with, because he got some wide boy horns.
He would be, but I think they just smash cut into him sitting in the principal's chair. And I think where it might be mixing up your memory is that they do a joke where he has a painting of himself in the room, and they're constantly there's this one shot where his head, the painting is blurred out behind and sort of obscured behind a stack of books, and it looks like his actual head to where the perspective of the shot is sort of making it blurred out and then the distance, but then his real head
And there are
pops
two
up.
extra paintings for his horns.
I didn't actually realize that, but yeah, that sounds like it.
That's what I was thinking of. That was the joke. How in his office he has the portrait of himself above him on the wall, and his horns get cut off in them, and so they have to put two extra portraits up for the ends of his horns. So good.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, I remember that now. Okay. Oh, and another thing I'd like to point out about this episode is at the very end, Rain causes a teenage addiction. They give Eda her first hint of apple blood, and well, we know the story.
Rain is
from
an
there.
enabler.
Yeah.
Rain's fucking canceled.
Rain could totally get canceled on Twitter. Literally introducing teenagers to the cartoon version of alcohol.
By the way, I'll call it female presenting Rain. Very cute. I can see why Eda fell for Rain at that time.
Yeah, I definitely get it as well.
I love I love how immediately mischievous they both are, and how they end up passing all of their tests in the exam thing or whatever by appearing mischievous at first, but then they show that now it was all a means to an end, and we are following the rules.
Yeah, Eda, I presume Eda is the one who did more of the chaotic, mischievous stuff, and Rain just lets her and ends up helping Eda's chaos work in the end and get them a high score. Really great stuff.
I keep forgetting that Lilith had orange hair when they were younger, and that she canonically dyes it.
Wait, she dyes it? Is it supposed to be orange?
Yeah.
I thought it was.
Remember how?
No, Lilith dyes her hair. Oh, hold
Yeah,
on.
that's what I said.
Oh, you were talking about Lilith?
Yeah, I said I mentioned Lilith. 'Cause we see flashback Lilith, and it's not the first time we've seen her as a kid with Eda. But every time I see she comes up in a flashback, I'm always taken aback, being like, "Oh yeah, her hair isn't naturally dark blue. It's just it's orange, and she dyes it because we see within these episodes that she lets a gray streak grow out just because she's also getting old like her sister.
Yeah. Okay, for some reason I thought you said Edo dyed her hair.
No, she lets
Yeah.
that shit get gray.
Yeah, she's not afraid to let it show. All right, so last episode of the podcast, you said that there was an episode that you really liked, that you thought was the best of the entire series. And not gonna lie, watching all these episodes, I legitimately don't know what it is. So, could you enlighten me as
We'll
to...
save that for the end.
Okay,
but,
so it's near the finale.
Yeah, we'll save that for the end, but I want to touch on everything. I want to make that the last thing we talk about. And because we ended up talking for 3 hours in the last podcast, and as much as we could talk about this show for hours on end, in the interest of the viewers' sake, we'll try to keep this one to about 2 hours max, around 2 hours. So
Yeah, that's
we'll cover
a good choice.
We'll cover these remaining topics rapid fire, as necessary. So, King, he's got stuff going on now.
Oh yeah, he gets a huge reveal. So, King's... Alright, so I was talking about how in the last block, Hootie sort of ate the letter King got. And I was like, oh, that's totally going to be a Chekhov's gun. And it fired during this block of episodes. I'm trying to remember which actual episode number it was. Okay, episode 17. Or was it? Yeah, episode 17. So,
Yeah.
The episode starts off with sort of a joke opening of King talking with his family, but in a dream, and his dad is just King with a mustache. Which is great.
This is fresh after the big reveal that Bellows is gonna fuck everything up with the Collector on the Day of Unity, and Luz is blaming herself. And in order to get the kids out of the house for a bit, Eda and Lilith send Luz, King, and Hootie off to this remote corner of the map where they're trying to find some kind of, like, they're trying to find who sent the letter and if it has any secrets to his King's past. And then they end up on this island of King lookalikes.
All right, I just want to go back for a minute and talk about how funny it is that Hootie... All right, so the way they find the letter that Hootie has long since swallowed is that Lilith is back, and Hootie's so excited that he just starts spontaneously puking.
Bro, his bride-to-be just came back into his life. Of course he couldn't contain all that excitement.
Hootie and Lilith, the true ship.
Fuck Lumity. This is the true shit.
What would their ship name be? I don't know, Ludi?
Hootlu.
Hootlu. That could work. Okay, so anyway. They go into what King thinks is basically a tribe of his people. He gets introduced to the entire thing by this guy named Tarek. And Tarek isn't his dad. However, Tarek is willing to show him around, show him the ropes of being a Titan hunter. And this entire village is basically... They're these people who live far away from the Boiling Islands, and they're looking for the day the Titans return. They wanna kill all the... They wanna genocide the Titans a la Eren Yeager. They are passionate about that. And they have killed most of the Titans. However, there's one Titan left, and the elder of the village at least reports to have seen the Titan. And he's the only one who's actually supposedly seen a Titan out of the entire village. And basically, they're showing King the ropes and telling him all about Titan hunting. And then the reveal happens, where Luz and Hootie, they walk up to talk to the village elder. And the village elder is, talking about how his profuse hatred of Titans. And at this point, even before the reveal, the viewer is sort of seeing the connection between Belos and the village elder, which, by the way, I don't think we went into Belos's motivations yet. He wants
Well, we'll get to
yeah.
that. We'll get to that.
Okay. So they are similar, just trust us, viewers. And Luz is sort of like, oh, that doesn't seem very kind. That seems a bit cringe. And then Tara talks about what distinguishes a Titan, which is that they're hairy, they eat a lot, and they say, wah. And just outside the window, King is saying, wah. And Luz puts it together, and so does the village elder.
King's a fucking Titan.
Yeah, the short little dude, this dog with a skull in his head, it's an adorable little puppy. Yeah, he's actually
He's a
gonna grow
god.
into, God, according to Lilith at least. Yeah, he's gonna grow up to be big enough that the entire Boiling Islands can fit inside him, apparently. So
And
that's
his
exciting.
dad he's been living on his dad the whole time.
Do we know if that specific Titan is his dad? Because
I think
the impression
because like
I got was
there-
that the last living Titan is the one who gave birth to, the one who gave birth to King. And
but King is the last living Titan. I think the last living Titan became the Boiling Isles.
is that confirmed?
I'm pretty sure because he at the end of the episode, like King's like he looks over at the Boiling Isles as they return to it. It's like, "Hi, Dad."
Does he say hi, Dad?
Yeah,
I'm genuinely blanking on this. But does he?
it was a pretty sad moment.
But does he know for certain that that specific Titan is his dad? Because how would he know?
Was it not brought up in the other King episode from the last block of episodes? Because like we know that a Titan was the one who put him in who put his egg in that tower.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess
So-
that could be like the one most likely to be his dad of them all.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
pretty
what
sure.
misdirected me was that the village elder said that he saw the last living Titan in his lifetime, but he's also full of shit, so it's impossible to really trust what he says with 100% certainty.
Well, he was also 100% accurate on his description of a Titan, so
Okay, so he must have seen one at some point in his life.
I'm sure there's some timeline that we're just missing out on, but
Maybe
You
if I rewatch the show, it will happen someday for sure. Maybe then I'll actually understand it better. But for now, my dumb bagel head is confused a little bit, but it's okay.
Then we also find out that these Titan shifters are not shifters, hunters. Fuck, I've got fucking Aaron Yeager on the brain now. They're worshippers of the Collector. The Collector is pretty much their god, and they hunt Titans in his name because. Oh yeah, we also find out that the Collector does explicitly say to King that like, hey, you look like the bully Titan that trapped me in this rock or whatever.
I wonder what that could be indicating.
I'm pretty sure that means that Titan was King's dad.
Yeah, King's dad apparently trapped the Collector. Actually, I think at one point during the finale, the Collector literally says that, oh, you're the son of the guy who trapped me in there.
Oh yeah, are you his Titan baby?
Yeah. So it is confirmed
there's
that
a connection. Yeah.
And this
And
is
then
also the point.
Isn't it so wasn't so fucking sad where like as they're about to sacrifice King on the altar, like and Tarek is putting the cape over him to like, conceal his eyes. And he's like, and then we're gonna play catch, right, Dad?
Oh no.
It's like, yeah, yeah, ooh, yeah, ooh.
Yeah, he ain't
He just
getting
wants a
any-
dad, man.
This is it's a cast comprised of fatherless individuals.
Well, Eda has
Eda
her
has-
father.
yeah, she's
He
just
she
distant
she
with
just
his dad.
did. She just mortally wounded him and handicapped his vision for life.
Yeah. So I guess not fatherless, but distant relationship in Ida's case. And so, oh, and this is also the episode where King sort of makes some sort of connection with the collector.
With the collector, yeah,
I
because
have
they
to
during the ceremony, which is what I was trying to bring up before, they brand him, and like the ceremony causes him to develop some kind of mental connection with the collector, and now in his dreams and like in his mind, he can hear him and almost kind of talk to him.
Yeah, to a very limited capacity, though. It's only in his dreams. He can't really control it or anything like that. And by the way, the dreamscape the collector appears to King in looks awesome. I love it.
I'm pretty sure it's identical to the Between Realms world that Luz built a portal door to when she tried to go home.
No, it's not identical. They're very different.
Are they?
I think
I could have
so.
sworn that there were a bunch of floating cubes around.
I think they're similar, but they're definitely not identical.
I would have to rewatch it to make sure.
They looked very different, at least according to my memory. Although they do both have the visual... they have a shared visual motif, which is that they're sort of between realms places, which implies that the collector up to this point has been trapped between realms just like Luz was at that point of time. So... I guess they're similar, but they look different, at least from what I remember. Also, this is just something funny about this, specifically the latter half of this block of episodes, which is that they pretty much cut the OP off every single episode at this point.
Because they need the runtime, man.
Yeah.
They need to tell everything that they need to say.
The rat already stole enough runtime as is, so they need that extra time. Let's see, what else is there to talk about?
Amity. There's more cute Lumity moments. They kiss,
Oh yeah, they
and I popped off. Again.
It was definitely a pop off moment for me. I love the like I especially love Luz's reaction to it, where she just says "crikey" and then immediately gets embarrassed about how she said that. She's like, "Oh, why did I say that?"
Luz has been a poser, a faker the whole time. We thought she was Latino. We thought she was Hispanic. No, she was Australian the whole time.
She lives in the lands down under, and it's such a cute moment, and like Luz literally not even knowing how to respond and just says the silliest thing possible and immediately blushes
Is in
over
character.
it. Yeah, it's completely in character, and like to me the perfect way for these two characters to share their first kiss. Mwah, brilliant.
It's their first kiss, but I also like how in episode 11 with the Coven Day Parade, as Luz is saying goodbye to Amity, she does give her a kiss on the cheek real quick.
Yeah, not the first time it happened, but still, I mean, how they can't kiss without me feeling serotonin. Like, come on.
It's impossible. Like them being in the same frame, when they're trying to figure out the author of the Good Witch Azura books, and they just run off together hand in hand, just trying to figure it out. It's so good. It's precious.
Yep, that's why they're the best ship. Period.
I'm So while we're just talking about Lumity, I just want to rattle. I just want to go through a laundry list of all of, like the adorable Lumity moments. Fucking Amity pulling out the skateboard and then just riding it together.
Yeah, I
Well,
remember that.
what were the other good ones? Um, fuck, I can't. I'm looking.
Okay.
I'm going through all the episodes in my head one by one. Reaching out is like full of them. All the times Amity blushes, or it's like, come on, and when Luz says, "Come on," I like to pick the most like chaotic path, or, like the most like uh something like chaotic energy path, and Amity like looks away with a blush, being like, "Yeah, that's why I like you."
That was absolutely amazing.
Oh yeah, when Amity puts on the those concealment stones, that we also find out that her siblings don't actually look all that great. Edric is a Tumblr sexy man, and Emra has a bunch of acne.
And then Amity dons both of them, and Luz is just like, oh, so pretty. You're so pretty.
Yeah, she like fucking lifts her up, gives her a big hug. Oh, it's so cute.
Great. This is completely not related to anything, but Lilith says "stay mad" in this block of episodes.
Oh yeah, time travel is introduced. That's a pretty big plot point.
Yeah, that is rather huge.
And she decks Philip in the face.
Kino moment. I do like how they managed to introduce time travel in a way where it's like it doesn't break the entire story. I mean, it's relevant.
We
to
can't
the
just go back
story.
in time and
Yeah.
Thanos baby Bellows or anything like that.
Yeah, it's
And
like
they only happen. It only is allowed to happen at specific times of the year, so that's why they're able to do it.
that's how you do time travel, Harry Potter. I'm looking at you.
I did not know Harry Potter had time travel in it.
You didn't know Harry Potter? It's like the entire plot of the third book. Well, maybe not the entire plot.
I've never read the books or watched the movies, by the way.
You said Harry Potter was good though.
Well, I've
what
heard
basis?
from everyone who's said everyone I've heard said it's good.
It sucks.
Yeah, you're the only person I've ever met who says Harry Potter's trash. Actually,
I thought everyone agreed with me.
so, I don't know. Maybe this maybe I haven't been paying enough attention and public opinion is shifting or some shit. I don't know. I know Fantastic Beasts fucking sucks.
Well, yeah, everyone hates that, even more so than the main series.
But that's neither really here nor there. Back to the Lumity posting.
Yeah, you tend to. Well, actually, did you take any notes for this block?
I did say before the podcast, like, this is the one block that I didn't feel the need to take notes for. For two reasons. One, because all of these episodes came out literally earlier this year. The oldest episode on this list is from March 19th of 2022. And
so
that's not even... This is just, some of this is like half a year old. Some of this is like not even 6 months old.
Okay,
So
that is very recent.
It's fresh in my memory, and also I essentially took a bunch of notes at the time of each episode's airing, when I was just like basically fanboying in my own personal Discord server.
I know the feeling. I do it in my own server all the time.
Let's see, any more cute, epic Lumity moments. They kiss. Amity like steps up to bat for her girlfriend when she's like, when her mom is being like, "Oh yeah, we'll find you like a new girlfriend who's not a criminal." And like, oh, you're trying to like tell me what to do? Shut up, brat. And then Amity steps up, being like, "Don't you talk to my girlfriend that way." Stand up to her own mom.
Amity's parents are not homophobic. I repeat, they are not homophobic. This is canon.
I don't think homophobia exists in the demon realm. which is well ironic given the criticisms levied toward the show from certain overly active Christian groups.
Certain idiots. Let's go.
Yeah, I suppose you could also say.
I prefer that term. But anyway.
Amity. Yeah, Alador's going through the divorce arc. Let's fucking go.
I didn't expect that to be at least semi-important plot point to these episodes, where literally Amity's parents are going through a divorce, mostly because Amity's mom is a psycho bitch.
Yeah, she's like the most hateable character. Like, yeah, what Bellows is doing is like way worse, kind of objectively, but like, I feel like people just hate Odalia more.
Well, yeah, she's so much more like Bellows is kind of like you can enjoy him in like you can like him in sort of a villainous way where it's like I completely disagree with you, but damn, you're kind of cool.
Yeah,
Amity's
you're
mom-
entertaining to watch. Amity's mom's just a bitch, and like she's not a bad. It's not that she makes the show worse, but she's the most. I want to see this bitch get owned so fucking hard of all the characters in the
much.
show.
Yeah. I mean, her most hateable moment is sort of spoiler-y. Has to do with the finale, so I guess I'll put that off.
We've already talked about the finale, so you might as well talk about it.
All right, sure. So Bellows, he's trying to destroy all the witches, all the people of the Boiling Islands, because he's a racist and likes genocide. Amity's mom is just okay with it. She knew from the get-go that Bellows was trying to do all this. She was just like, yeah, I'm gonna aid you because, if I aid you, my family will be spared. We'll get into Bellows' good graces, and we'll be the ones to survive the demon apocalypse.
Yeah, the Day of Unity will bring us all together. We'll be kings of the new world, and yeah, she's just kind of a bitch.
She's also completely
not one person
wrong.
in the fandom likes her.
Well, yeah, duh.
Yeah, she's gonna. Well, she doesn't know that Bellows is She knows like what will happen on the Day of Unity, but she knows that she doesn't know rather that Bellows hates all witches. So yeah, she was gonna fucking die too, and she didn't know that.
Yeah, Bellows just. He's so willing to backstab everyone, and it's kind of amazing to see just how many people he's lied to get in on his plans. Like, he's just a terminal liar. Even with people...
because he's a racist.
Yeah. Even the people who are on his side, even those on his side about the Day of Unity, he still lies to. And strings them along, and, like, even with... the Collector, with Amity's mom, everyone in the demon realm. It's a lot.
Where were you when the first same-sex kiss in Disney Channel history happened?
I was far away from the Owl House, unfortunately. Until I finally...
Imagine.
I wish I didn't have to... Or no, rather, I wish I did have to imagine.
How hard do you think Dana Terrace had to like brawl in the Fight Club blood pit to make sure that the kiss was on screen, and like it couldn't just happen like off screen, and then they're just like reacting to it?
Probably very hard, and seems to have sort of. If we assume the worst intentions from the rat, yeah, it kind of did screw them over. Well, maybe not the kiss and like specifically, but the same-sex couple.
Yeah, try censoring that one overseas, idiots. How you gonna explain that one? Oh, Luz, you've got rice on your face. Let me get that for you.
I'm just imagining the Chinese dub being like, Amity, you've always been my best friend. Let's share a friendship kiss. And Amity's like, "Oh yeah, my best friend,
I,
buddy, old
I don't think no.
pal."
I think the Chinese government is too homophobic for even that. I think I think what they do if they don't just outright cut it or like crop the scene in a way to just cut that part out completely. I think what they'll do is like try to dub over it into some way to be like because the shot of the kiss is from like an over the shoulder perspective from Amity. They'll probably they'll I don't know, maybe they'll get away to be like, oh, it wasn't actually on the mouth,
Oh,
her.
I got it. All right. Cut everything. This is how it's gonna go. Amity's gonna get in close and be like, "Oh yeah, I love just sniffing you, friendship like." And Luz is like, "Oh yeah, I love just
Platonically.
getting my face so platonically close to you, Amity. Yeah, this really smells like friendship, Amity."
I had strawberry ice cream for like a few minutes ago. I think it's still on my mouth. You want to taste it?
Yeah, but it's just to eat it. It's just to eat it, Amity.
Bro,
Yeah.
I made the sickest fucking fruit salad you ever did see. You could taste all the fruits on my lips.
Oh yeah, I just fucking love salad, Amity. Yeah, that hits the spot. That's so good. It tastes so good. The salad, not your lips. The salad.
All right, I think that's enough with the bit. I'm looking over anything else that we might have passed along. The last thing that I want to talk about, I think. Two things that I want to talk about. Well, hold on. 3, and they're gonna be pretty fast because we've touched on most of them already in some form or another. Before we get to the big thing. One, the big fight and confrontation between Luz and Eda in what fucking episode was it? Oh Titan, where art thou? The heartbreaking.
That was such oh god, that I was feeling things throughout that whole fight. That was intense. And it's like both sides are so understandable, where it's like Eda wants to make sure Luz can live a happy life and not have to deal with this, because she's like, kids shouldn't have to deal with all this stuff. And it's like, yo, she's right in a way. It's like you completely understand her perspective, but then Luz is like, well, I care about the Boiling Islands, and I'm not gonna let you boss me around and say I can't help out my friends. I want to help out. I'm capable. And it's just such a heart-tugging fight where it's like no one's wrong, but at the same time it's like you hate to see them fight like this.
Bro, like the scene where Luz is being like, why did you do all this? Now we're just gonna get captured and take it to the Emperor. Like what we'll never be able to solve your do your plan to stop the Day of Unity. And she's like, there is no fucking plan. We don't know how to stop this. We were just trying to spare you guys from having to go through with it.
You just reminded me of the actual most heartbreaking scene of that episode, where Eda is getting taken away from Luz, and Luz is like, fine, I'll listen to everything you say, but don't give up. And it's like, she's sad at this point, not because Eda is bossing her around necessarily, but that Eda has literally just resigned herself to her fate of the entire Boiling Islands getting killed. And it's like,
I can't help but wonder when she says, I'll listen to everything you say, to her mother figure Eda. I wonder how much of that would it was reminiscent of her real mother. I wonder if she was thinking about more than one person when she was saying all that.
what are you getting at? I mean, I know you're talking about Luz's mom, but
I'll listen to everything you say about having leaving her in the human realm, maybe never coming back, and how heartbroken she left her.
Okay, yeah, I get what you're saying.
And Luz was ready to enter her Joker phase. She was gonna go feral and fucking destroy the world.
I mean, if you want to know who's truly having a Joker phase, just look at Hootie.
I mean, there is one scene where Lilith comes back, and like his immediate reaction being like Lulu, and then like is choking out Luz. Like it's all a front.
Oh yeah, behind the. Oh my God! Wait, I just remembered. Hootie. Okay, this is how we truly know Hootie's a sociopath. The scene where Hootie takes off his skin.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on that too. That's like one of the first things we see at the start of this block of episodes, and like Lou's like, oh, the demon room is filled with such like beautiful, cool looking things. Take a look at this, and it just Hootie takes off his skin, and he's just a fucking like a skeleton. Like that was not okay, Dana.
Yeah, he's indestructible. Literally, that's how you know he's the most powerful creature. He can literally take off his skin and he's just fine. It's like,
don't you ever feel uncomfortable in your own skin? Don't you wish you could just take it off? Do it. Take off your skin right now.
Hootie, upon hearing that, would just be like, okay, take it off. Dude, Hootie is still the mega villain. I keep on saying this every podcast episode. He's going to destroy the world, right? He sees Belos, and what he feels is not misery at his impending doom. It's jealousy. Jealousy that he's not the one to be doing
It
this.
should have been me.
Dude, Hootie is going to take on both the Collector and Belos simultaneously, win,
They're
and
gonna have
then
the ultimate
destroy.
triple threat death match.
Yeah, and then Hootie's going to destroy the world in his own image.
There's one before we move on from Lilith, like we did earlier. I wanted to talk about how much she's like trying to placate into King's favor ever since she found out he was a Titan. And my favorite Lilith moment of all time is this, centered right now. Literally what I said the first time I saw this.
I need me a woman who will commit unholy atrocities to God for me.
Cause she fucking pulls out a sword being like, oh, so would you prefer dark deeds committed in your name, and gives him the wink? That's like, I feel like I've just had something awakened inside me.
Lilith, honestly,
I think this is how religions are formed.
Lilith, I never expected to like her as much as I do. But she's like, legitimately, I want to see. I wish there were like just multiple episodes of Lilith just going on an adventure, because I would see that. I would be
Luz
here
and
for
Lilith.
that.
I love how Luz refers to Lilith as her cool aunt.
She is the cool aunt, kinda.
Yeah, because she punches the main villain in the face and may have like inadvertently heightened his racism.
Lilith, there's literally an entire B plot of her staked on her trying to be cool, because there's this other person in the museum who's her superior and always makes fun of her, and she's like, I can be cool too. And it's just like such a almost stupid goal, but one that I totally see Lilith going for, and one that I want to see her actually achieve. And I love how Luz, like,
Lilith was always cool.
Yeah, Luz literally, like, without any hint of sarcasm or irony, she's just like, yeah, you're cool. Yeah. And it's like,
she really is cool, Aunt Lilith. And she's just going like, let's boogie down to History Town. Bum, ba, bum, bum, pew, pew. Because they're both a couple of nerds.
Yeah, I love, like, Luz and Lilith make such a good pairing. Lilith honestly has some of the most interesting character dynamics in this show, or at least the most viscerally fun ones, where it's like her and Hootie being best friends, which I need more of. I need all the episodes of Lilith and Hootie being together as friends. Like, it's just so wholesome. And how
it's really, they are the OTP.
Like, screw Lumity. I want Hootloot, whatever it is.
Hootlu, baby.
Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted
I'm trying
to
to
mention?
remember let me see. I'm trying to remember the last thing that I want to mention before the big thing.
Well, I do have one thing, which is that okay, so in episode I'm trying to find the exact episode. Okay, so in episode 16, Luz and the Golden Guard Hunter, they get teleported into Belos's mind from it's basically confirmed to be Rain and the other two people going up against the against Belos with him, them. Twitter, don't cancel me yet. This frame is godly, Neon. Thank you for reminding me this exists.
the Hootie bowing to his queen. Bro, if Lilith dies, that's it. Hootie's warring the world.
That's how his Joker arc is going to go down. And so
I hate to cut you off mid thought, but the last thing I wanted to talk about was while we're on the subject of Hunter, because you're already starting to get into the thing that I was like building up towards the entire time, is the friendship forming between Hunter and Willow. Because we've neglected to talk about Hunter the whole time, and Hunter this is the part of the story where he's making connections with the Hexside gang.
yeah, so Hunter, at first he's still passionately defendant of the Emperor, and he's like trying to get Willow and Gus and the other people in the team they're forming to work for the Emperor's Coven with him. And he's like legitimately really happy to do stuff with them. And like they're playing this sport, I forget exactly what it's called, but like they steal flags from
Flyer
each
derby.
other. Fire derby, is that what it's called?
Yeah, flyer derby.
Oh, flyer derby.
It's basically it's roller derby, but called something different. It's the witch version.
And
like rugby, grudgeby.
yeah. And he's like legitimately super happy to work as a team with them, and like he realizes that like they all have really like they're all really competent and likable to him, and he's like, "Yo, you're cool." And then he sort of halfway burns that bridge by getting them locked up in the Emperor's prison. But whatever, water under the bridge.
Yeah, then there's, if you pay enough attention, there's some seeds planted of maybe a little blossoming romance between Hunter and Willow.
There was.
Well, damn, you would not survive long in the Owl House fandom. I'll tell you that.
Oh no! Oh no!
Well, yeah, when Willow first sees Hunter, she's like kind of blown away, and then Hunter like is consistently impressed by Willow's natural leadership skills and how strong she is, and they have this cute little bond over how they both feel like they're half a witch, and like especially when Hunter calls himself half of a witch, and half a witch Willow is what they called Willow when she was a kid, and so Willow like especially takes what he says to heart, and it's like, oh yeah, you still think we're like weak? You think we're not strong enough? And shows them up, and they form this bond, and they sort of like go on to rekindle it a little more in Labyrinth Runners when Willow is the first person to come to Hunter's defense when he says that Gus showed him how to do the breathing thing when he was panicking, and that what makes that cool is that she was the one who taught that to Gus. So the fact that Gus would be willing to share that with Hunter, like even after the whole flyer derby incident, she was like, okay, wait, hold on, Hunter's probably cool actually.
Yeah, it is a very endearing friendship, and
they have a cute hug at the end of the episode.
Yeah, and especially
Hunter
I
forgot that
Gus. Go on.
Brothers. I was gonna say I can't believe I forgot that one cute scene of Amity and Willow holding hands when they hear about like the truth of the Day of Unity.
Yeah, that was cute. And then I'm trying to
the last bit of Huntlow, as it's called in the fandom, evidence is that when Hunter gets captured by Kikimora, Willow is like the first person to go after Kikimora. She's like super fucking pissed as well. She like summons a whole bunch of vines. She's got the green eyes, and when Kikimora holds Hunter up in front of the attack, she's forced to stop herself.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And she was like the most eager to go after him when he got captured, even though it was Luz the whole time.
I mean, I guess that you could interpret that as the seeds of romance being planted. Personally, I got no vibes of that, but
it might not turn out to be a romantic thing, but like there's also some clips from season 3 that have officially, yes and no, officially came out that sort of teases at it more.
Okay, so it's sort of like it's a thing that exists in this season, but there's also more context to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe it will come true.
There was that one cute little, like, almost a blink and you'll miss it type moment in the in both those episodes. In the one where Hunter is like has an illusion placed on him to look like Luz. If you watch it closely, you'll notice that, you know how Hunter's signature like technique is him doing like the fast movement where like he turns into a bit of a yellow blur and like is able to move fast, almost like teleporting.
Oh, I remember that because I had to rewind to rewatch it where Luz had done this his technique, and I was like, wait, did she learn
Luz
that?
Can't do magic. Nope, it was Hunter. And who was the one that Hunter pushed out of the way?
It was probably Willow, wasn't it?
It was Willow. And then there's one more moment in the season finale where when they're all fighting Berserker Bellows, as Willow's trying to hold him down with all the vines and the rocks are falling everywhere. Immediately after one scene of Amity putting up an abomination cover to keep a rock from falling on Luz's head, Hunter teleports over behind Willow when a rock is about to fall on her head, and he twirls his staff to deflect it.
I guess you can
very nice. I mean, I'm just saying those are a lot of moments that happen with around Willow and not Gus, despite them both having I'd say equal a level of bond with each other now.
I mean, Willow and Gus are definitely just friends. They've been friends.
Oh yeah,
forever.
they're friends.
Yeah, the time for romance has
obviously
long passed for them.
Obviously, the next step in this whole plan is to get Gus and V together. That way, no one is left single.
I mean, it could work. It's not impossible.
All right. There might be a whole bunch of other things that we left off.
Yeah,
like
remember
how
when
Luz carves her talisman into an egg, but that doesn't really pay off at the end yet.
Remember
so now
when
we
you
get
wanted
into...
to keep this under 2 hours or around to that point? Haha.
Yeah. Okay. I'll tell you what. I'll give us to 20 minutes at most. Well, I won't let this thing go over 2 hours and 15 minutes. So, Hollow Mind is the best episode of the Owl House.
Oh, okay. So that's the one you were talking about. I definitely disagree just because Knock Knock Knocking on Hootie's Door is so good. And I'd honestly say some of the final episodes are probably ones I enjoyed more. But this is definitely a really good episode. I won't disagree with you there. Although, I guess at the very beginning of the episode, I actually went into it kind of, I wouldn't say pissed off, but like perplexed because it seemed like, okay, so the way this episode sort of sets up the plot point is that these people who are basically confirmed to be Rain and their partners are making this portal into Belos's mind. And at first I was like, wait, you can do that? Hold on, I thought they had to be present, but no, there is a spell that allows you to go into someone's mind from afar. And my immediate question was, okay, then why doesn't this happen all the time, to Belos in particular, when people want to pick his brains? And it is sort of explained, which is that Belos, first of all, has this sort of trap-ish, where it's like he presents false memories that keep up the lie that he is Belos, and who he says he is, and like this nice guy, the nice emperor boy. And Luz and Hunter, when they end up into the portal, almost sort of accidentally find themselves beyond the lie and into his true self. And on top of that, most people are pretty loyal to him and wouldn't want to be seen, like wouldn't want to be in his memory. And on top of that, even if someone did find his true memories, Belos would probably gat them. So it is believable enough for me to say, like, okay, even if this magic does exist, I guess it makes sense that, you know, people wouldn't just be raiding Belos's mind all the time. Or if they did, they'd either be tricked or gatted. But it's fine. It works. It's not a plot hole.
I think the thing about being able to enter someone's mind from a distance, did they need like something from the Emperor in order to like enter his mind from that far? Did they need like a piece of his DNA or something, like his cloak or whatever?
I
Or
didn't.
were they just able to
Here,
do
hold
it
on.
just cause?
I'll actually check right now. We can.
All right, well,
cut
while
this
you're
out.
checking, so what makes Hollow Mind, to me at least, the best episode of the Owl House is that everything is on two levels to me. One, the personal level, is that literally everything that I value in storytelling shows up in this episode, and it fucking fed me for days on end. Second of all, this is like the bit. Not only do we learn, this is like everyone involved in this episode, all of the major players get like their status fucking boosted in the show. Luz gets even more like dynamically interesting now that she's inadvertently helped the villain and now blames her. That becomes one of her core character facets now, that she blames herself for what's going on. Hunter is gets fucked up by all this revelation that his entire belief, his worldview is crashing down around him, and he's trying so hard at first to play it off. Like, even to the point where he's calling himself stupid for doubting him. And Belos is elevated by becoming one of the best Disney villains ever.
I definitely see that aspect of the episode. Oh, and by the way, there's no other place to throw this in, but I am looking at the summoning circle, and yeah, it's just a series of circles. It's not like, it doesn't have any of Belos's DNA in it, unless you count Hunter, which I wouldn't
count.
really.
Because they weren't going to use them for that anyway.
Yeah.
I think the reason they were disguised because they were going to go into his mind disguised, so that way he wouldn't be able to know that they were getting visited.
Yeah.
Also, it's been established that when you enter someone's mind, you get hunted by the inner self, like how Luz and Amity got hunted by Willow's inner self when they went to her head. So it's probably not an advisable thing for people to be doing all the time.
I still think it'd be better if they needed his DNA to go in, but like, it's not a plot hole. I'm still a little iffy about it, but like, it makes enough sense that I can buy into it.
Also, people remember when you go into their heads.
Yeah, they do remember.
Yeah.
It. So like, even if you survived the encounter, Belos would know.
Yeah, oh boy, does Belos know.
Yeah. So this is also a big turning point in the series in terms of the plot and characters, which is that from this point forward, because Belos knows, he knows that Hunter and Luz realize exactly what his plan is and what he's trying to do and what he's done throughout history in order to make his plan come to fruition. And because of that, he's like, okay, hunt down the people in the Owl House. And from this point forward, and I always knew this would happen, just sort of instinctively, and also because of the Season 3 poster, I sort of gleaned it from that, which is that I knew at some point in the series the plot would turn to where they're on the run and unable to get back to the Owl House. And I'm very glad that I got proven right, and that uh, when it happened, it was very, very cool and very well executed.
Yeah, as soon as Luz and Hunter enter the Emperor's mind, they agree with all the imagery of like how great he is and how there's a whole lineage of golden guards that served him as like his main right hand man, and he's like, "Oh, this is like the memory of when I was appointed to be the Golden Guard. I never found out what happened to the previous one. I'm looking back through all of my notes that I took as I was watching the episode for the first time, and I was like, you don't say."
Yeah, maybe because they got uh, they disappeared, if you know what I mean. They disappeared.
Yeah, and this they're greeted by this child who looks to be like a, I guess it turned out to be a young Bellows. He's wearing a skull mask with the horns similar to Bellos's mask, and uh he's leading them around memory to memory, and they're seeing how Bellows became the man to be. This is how we see Bellos's origin, sans like what caused him to, how he ended up in the demon realm, because that's the one bit of information we don't know for sure yet. Although now with all the context clues we have, we can probably glean it for ourselves.
I mean, I'm not sure exactly how he got in. And now that I
Well,
think
well,
about it,
neither do we, but we know that he had some kind of when he says of all of the Grimwalkers, you looked the most like him, and that him is a man named Caleb, who is Hunter, not Hunter, Philip's brother. Either I'm pretty sure it's his brother. It's either his brother or his like best friend, but I'm going to assume brother though. I forget if they
yeah.
like hard confirmed brother.
I mean, they look to be biologically related, so
Yeah, well, yeah. The fact that he says uncle, yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, they're probably brothers. Um, so yeah, he killed at some point. Caleb died. Maybe Philip killed him. Probably. They're like, what's cool about the episode is that I don't know if you noticed, but like if you ever want to rewatch episodes, I urge you to rewatch this one the soonest, because if you look through all throughout the background of Bellus's mind, you'll see all these pictures, and all these pictures seem to tell a story unto themselves when you piece them together chronologically. The most damning one being of a Bellows, a human Bellows, or Philip rather, uh standing over his brother Caleb with a knife as he's like being chummy with all of the witches when they get to the demon realm. And it's like, we already know that he has a precedent to kill people that looks like Caleb. I wonder if the reason he continues to make all these Grimwalkers in his image is because he was the one who killed him.
uh, I didn't notice that, but honestly, it does make me tempted to want to go through the episode again and piece together more parts of his backstory. Because I mean, these are like this show is from people who worked on Gravity Falls, and Gravity Falls is very notorious for hiding a bunch of secrets, a bunch of foreshadowing to future plot elements in like ways that need to be decoded. So I imagine, yeah, everything in the mind is probably there for a reason.
Here, those are the images. You can see in the second one especially how well, in the first one you could see Caleb like in him standing off in a like a bunch of fires, and he had Philip holding a knife. And then in the second image you can see a guy who looks like Caleb lying on the floor, and you can see Philip's reflection in that knife.
It does get the noggin jogging.
And here's another cool tidbit I don't know that you picked up on. Remember the city that after they do the thing where they test out sigil magic and put the sigils on the witches and they fucking nearly die. Do you remember how he said to burn down that city as they went on to the next one?
Yes, I do remember that.
Did any part of that city look familiar to you?
Not particularly.
Oh, see, now I gotta call you out as the fake fan, cause take a look at this. Remember when you said this was your favorite location in the show?
Alright, I see that. And, oh. Okay, now it makes sense.
Remember when you said the knee was your favorite
Yeah, it still is
location
my
in the
favorite
show?
location in the show. Oh no,
It's it's the
poser.
ruins of a city that Belos burned to the fucking ground.
Well, that's horrifying.
Yeah, so just think when Luz and Amity were, you know, palling around, trying, like, being cute together in the snow, and when Amity and Hunter were fighting in the snow and trying to be an awesome girlfriend to Luz, they were doing that on the ruins of a fucking burned down city where probably no one survived.
Dude, I wonder what Belos's kill count is at this point. Very high, I imagine.
Oh no, dude, Belos' body count's probably through the fucking roof.
Even though I'm not as enthusiastic about it as you are, I still do really like the episode because it was very, very interesting to see not only Hunter and Luz's character development, but seeing, like, exactly how messed up Belos is. And
yeah, we see in the first flashback painting that the little kid in Belos' head takes them to, because they're also running from this giant monster thing, which we find out is like, you know how that little owl beast inside Eda's head is like the embodiment of the owl beast curse. That blob monster is the embodiment of the curse that's on him that caused him to turn into that blob thing that needs him to consume Palisman for. So while they think that is the inner Belos and they're getting chased by that, we see that Belos in that first flashback is starting an entire religion to become the emperor, and how he's organizing witches under the 9 coven system to help them keep them organized. And Hunter, like, at first Hunter's like, hey man, he's always trying to help people, see how he's using magic for good. And Luz ain't buying it, but then they see in the back being like, you fool, you messed up the spell, you almost blew our whole thing and made people not believe us. And it's like, that Golden Guard looking guy sounds identical to Hunter. I wonder why.
maybe it's because he continually reincarnates him in different iterations.
And then probably the most horrifying scene in the entirety of the Owl House so far is when they're testing out the sigil magic, and they're in the knee, and they branding everyone, and they focus on this one purple girl, and we see the sigil magic slowly taking over her entire body, going through all of her veins, all the veins in her body, and she's screaming in pain, and it's they're fucking collapsing on the ground. They're in this catatonic state, and the Golden Guard goes over to them and is like, they're still alive. So we know they're not dead, but they're also non-responsive. They're in comas. And Hunter and Luz are looking on, and Luz gives Hunter this horrified look, and Hunter's trying to justify himself, being like, no, it's fine. He was just testing the sigil magic to make sure that it was perfected. And it's the most horrifying thing, not just on the level of imagine if that were you, being put in the state of not quite dead but not quite alive either. You're in this state, in this stasis between states of being. And not only that, but you also have this one guy who's so devoted to the guy doing all of this damage that it's like he's him trying to convince himself that it's not just adds on to how fucked up the scene is.
You know, I wonder what was harder to get greenlit by Disney. Psychological and body horror in Belos's mind, or a gay kiss? Which one did they have to fight harder for? Because I think I know the answer, and I think that answer will depress me.
I don't know. Yeah, dude, you can stab on Disney Channel. You can stab a teenage girl through the chest with a sword, but you better not have two girls kiss.
I was actually kind of surprised that the show got as horrifying as this episode did, because I was like, oh, he really is messed up, and they really were allowed to show exactly how messed up he is. Not that that's a problem. It's actually mucho good. I love it. It's absolutely great.
I love how the collector is like, oh, you were during one of the flashbacks, the most recent one where Hunter came back with the key that he got from Amity, from Eclipse Lake. And then, like, at first Belus was, like, pissed that he disobeyed an order, but then when he brought the Titan's blood, he was like, oh, you've done great things today, Hunter. The Titans has big plans for you. And then the collector pops out and is like, ooh, you were mad? I thought you were gonna, break him like all the others. And he's just like, no, that, like, he's instrumental to my plan. I say the Titan has big plans for him, and he does what he's told. Unlike the previous attempts. And then the collector comes in being like, I'm starting to think you make those things just to destroy them. You like it. Admit it. And then Belus is like, of course I don't. It hurts me every time he chooses to betray me. Which just, like, adds on to, like, this destiny that every Grimwalker is, like, destined to turn his back on Philip. Just like Caleb did. And, like, that reality is slowly setting in for Hunter. Because, like, he feels like this whole journey that he's on with Luz right now is him set to betray Bellows. And then if he does, he's gonna end up like all the Golden Guards.
This episode was definitely the one that made me care for Hunter the most out of all of them. Because, like, it's just so hard not to feel sorry for the guy. It's like his entire understanding of reality is getting shattered before his eyes.
Yeah, imagine being told you're not actually a real human person or like even a real witch. You're a clone. You were like made from what is essentially a magical test tube, and like out of like the dirt to just be a clone of this one guy. And you are not even the first clone. You are you're just the most recent of a long line of clones that end up turning traitor. And then you see an image like, I don't know, a hallway of all of the Golden Guard masks being destroyed and like their staves broken. I wonder what that do to your psyche.
Not good things. Also,
dude, it is like fucked.
Hey, remember when you didn't want this recording to get to 2 hours and 15 minutes?
We'll talk about the very last thing I want to talk about, then we'll end the podcast because I actually have to leave for work soon, is of when Bellows shows up and it's like catches them being like, we weren't running from the inner Bellows. He was with us the whole time. And it was the kid, and they he's able to trap the embodiment of the curse. And then Hunter's like, what did you do to the other guards? And like, oh, dude, the performance that Zeno Robinson gives, cementing him as like the best performance in the entire show. Like the hurt in his voice, and like especially at the end when he's like going through that panic attack, being like, he's gonna come after me. He knew I was in there, and he's like having that mental breakdown and runs from the owl house. Holy shit! I almost like started feeling as overwhelmed as he did.
It goes back to what I said about the Owl House not being afraid to show people in mental pain. Like, okay, granted, I'm not very familiar with cartoons, but how many of them are willing to show a character have a panic attack twice?
It's a recent trend going on right now, and I'm very happy because I love angst.
Hunter is made of angst.
And quite literally, haha.
Ha ha.
Dude, the fucking, and while he's like pleading to Bellows, being like, "Come on, you're not actually like this. Like, please tell me the truth." And Bellows just smiling at him the whole time. He's like, "What a shame. Of all the Grimwalkers, you looked the most like him." And then he just like seemingly kills him.
Yeah, luckily, and I actually like this detail, he uses a spell that Willow, or rather, wait, no, he can't use magic though. Never mind. Wait, but then how did the... Okay,
I
hold
think
on.
he used
I
glyph
feel like
magic
I'm...
to survive.
Oh yeah, he must have. Okay,
because
so yeah,
he does use glyphs.
Okay, so he uses glyph magic to replicate a spell that Willow used.
Yeah, and dude, when they get out of his memory and he like throws off the Golden Guard cape because it feels like it's suffocating him, holy fucking shit.
It is a great episode.
And this is where Bellows becomes like one of the greatest villains in Disney history. Where she's like going after Luz, being like, Luz gonna be like, "I'm gonna tell everyone about the Day of Unity," and Hunter's no, not Hunter. Bellows is being like, "Yeah, go ahead, do whatever the fuck you want. And, like, you can't stop it. I've already won." And he's like, "How could anyone like believe you? How could anyone be tricked so easily?" And then like just to like rub Luz's face in it, he's like, "I wouldn't be so judgmental if I were you." And he brings up one more portrait of him meeting Luz because he and Philip were the same person, and it's dawning on Luz, and she's like being like, and like she's in total denial. She wants so desperately not to believe it. It's like, "No, you're not Philip. You're just Bellows." And it's like, and like as she's like having her own mental breakdown, it's like everything is piecing together in her mind, and how she's like indirectly responsible for dooming the entire demon realm and all witches on it. He's just stands over her and being like, "Hey, do me a kindness. Call me by my real name."
And he's always so stoic and calm about it. It almost seems...
He's so evil.
Yeah.
And it's so good. He's so like almost theatrical about it. Oh, he's almost, you know, it makes sense. He's like Shakespeareanly evil. He's from the 1600s. Yeah, checks out.
Like, there are times when his tone is almost kindly. But it's like,
he is
saying,
kind to Luz.
Yeah.
Because even in the finale, he's like, even after everything, Luz, I still want to help you as a fellow human. I want to save you from the witches. I have enough portal door juice for one more trip. Come with me. We can leave these people behind. We can go home together, Luz. He's like, even after everything, he's willing to extend an olive branch only to Luz. Only because she's human. He's willing to trick everyone else, including like Kiki Moore and some shit, where he's like, Kiki Moore's like, "Hey, maybe I can be your new right hand." And he's like, "Right hand? I wouldn't have you as my right hand if I cut off my own arm." Dude, you want to help me? Go find a hole to wither away in.
I guess that transitions us to basically the finale of the entire season, which is when Bellows basically just goes mask off on people. Like I said, he, pretty much uses everyone, and this is when it basically becomes apparent to even the people involved that he never cared in the first place, where he literally dumps the Collector off a cliff and tells Kikimora what you just said, and yeah, basically just he's so close to his plan coming to fruition that he no longer cares about keeping up a facade, and we get to see just how sociopathic he is.
Yeah, he like... I love how he mockingly calls Luz Lazora based on the name that she called herself in the past when she time traveled. God damn. Everything about Bellows is so fucking god tier. So we touched on, various aspects of the finale before with Bellows and the Collector and, all that. But how'd you feel about like the overall stakes of the finale?
They were absolutely incredible in my opinion. Episodes 20 and 21 are this just constant plot stuff happening. It's so good.
It's important that
actually-
they had to hit you with the Lumity kiss in the penultimate episode before they hit you with the, oh, by the way, the entire demon realm might be in a state of like absolute disarray and chaos with our friends on that side's safety called heavily into question, and now there's no way back. So, haha.
So, I've said before that when the plot of a show gets really good, or like when I'm really into it, I tend to stop taking notes. This is where the amount of notes I have gets comically low. I have 2 notes for each of these episodes, and that is all. And that is not to say that there wasn't anything to take notes about, but rather that it's just like, but I don't want to pull away from the screen. I don't want to stop watching the episode at all. You couldn't pay me to.
That's the mark of a good show right there. The house could be burning down. I could be like, shh, I gotta see how this fucking collector kit ends.
So yeah, I guess I'll let you take the lead for this one.
Let's see. What aspect have we? Oh yeah, the whole thing with Luz and her second encounter with Bellows, and how I believe we did already touch on how Bellows is still trying to go out of his way to help Luz because she's the only human. But it's like it's so interesting seeing them come to this clash once again. The ideological clashes are a running theme here on Castaway Anime. That Luz is being like, oh, you're such a fucking hypocrite, Bellows. Like you care so much about saving humanity when you're not even human yourself anymore, Bellows. You've like consigned yourself to this glyph magic, and you've disguised yourself so much, and like because with the curse on top of that, you can't even call yourself a human anymore. And he's like, well, I gave you a chance. I gotta turn you to stone now. The no hard feelings, babe.
Dude, the scene of Luz being slowly turned to stone, so good. Everything about this, like these 2 episodes specifically, is
Crunchy
just
likes it when
so...
children are in peril.
Oh my god. All right, listen. You also liked Made in Abyss. Don't put it all on me.
I agree. I will not deny the accusations on this one. I will not beat the allegations.
Guilty as charged.
And it's fitting that the way Luz is able to beat Bellows is with some subterfuge, some trickery of her own, because she is able to grab one of those sigil branding gloves. And she's like, all right, fine, I'll be your guide to the human realm. Because, like, I also love how she literally says to Bellows, like, no one's gonna believe you once you go to the human realm and, like, start talking all this nonsense about witches. No one in the current year, like, believes that shit anymore, or even, like, remotely considers the possibility of witches being real. Also, you go back looking like that with when your drip is mid and you will get no bitches. Yikes, my dude. And, like, I will be your guide, so shake on it. And as he goes to reach in, she disguises the sigil branding glove with her invisibility glyph, and then brands that son of a bitch so that he gets affected by the Day of Unity too. It's like, well, fuck you, Bellows. Now you have to call it off. And it's fitting that someone who's so used to lying and manipulating people is done in by a lie of the hero.
That's what we call, colloquially, just locally in our village, as dramatic irony.
Goddamn, when the irony is dramatic.
So, can I just take a moment to talk about how much of an absolute scumbag Kikimora is in this finale? I know this is sort of a tangent, but like... So Kikimora, it's revealed that she overheard Bellows... basically knew about the Day of Unity and knew about the Collector, and she's just like, okay, I'm going to help him in order to be the last one standing. And she only starts feeling down in the dumps and betrayed once she realizes that she's going to also be disposed of. What an awful person.
Yeah, and she's very well. You can hardly blame her. She got like hardcore demoted. She's she shows up in the penultimate episode in that fucking negative drip moving service. Yeah, she works for Magic UPS. Of course, she wants to fucking kill the world.
Yeah, she has basically just been completely backstabbed. She is miserable right now.
Uh,
And
I did find it a little convenient that she was able to like, oh yeah, Bellows thought he was alone every time he spoke to the collector, but I was there. I was always lurking. And it's like, sure you were, dude.
it is definitely a. I blame this on Disney once again. Oh, sorry. I said a slur there. The rat. It's definitely the rat's fault in this case. I'm sure they'd find a more natural way to put that in the episode. I think I mentioned this earlier, but like, it has to be sort of just. You have to come up with a reason for Kikimora to know and conveniently tell King.
And then, yeah, everything we've already covered. King frees the collector, one shots Bellows, moves the moon in the fucking jaw dropping scene, starts playing the Owl House game, whatever the fuck that means. We'll find out in season 3. The gang gets escapes through the door after King. Oh yeah, Luz tries to stay behind and tries to hold the door so everyone else can escape. It's like, I gotta make sure that King and Eda are right. Or rather Eda at the time, and King just was the one who pushed her away. And I can't help but wonder if that's gonna come back to bite her in season 3, like maybe some trust issues where it's like cause like didn't Amity like straight up make Luz promise like, Luz, please, like, don't like run away from us. We are going to help you.
I don't actually remember that, but that does track. That does make sense to me.
Like, I'm pretty sure at one point she does like promise at least Amity that she was not gonna leave her again, and then almost immediately is about to leave her again. It makes for some compelling drama.
Dude, these episodes are made entirely. Every second of them is compelling drama. It is good.
And then they're all whisked back away to the human realm. No way home. They are able to go back to Camilla at her house with V. Amphibia we see is canon to the Owl House universe.
I did notice that.
Which means I better fucking see Anne, Sasha, and Marcy in the finale. If there's a time skip, I better fucking see them. Just let Luz and Anne like cross paths once and have like one exchange of like, huh? I feel like I feel like I've seen that girl before. Like I feel like I'd get along with that girl, and I will be off the wall. I will be hanging from the ceiling. I will, you know that meme of like. Oh, you know when dogs or cats like run around in a circle, like they're bouncing off the walls? That would be me.
I will say that I do really like the cliffhanger for this season. It definitely has me in anticipation for what will happen. And it's also satisfying to see her go home.
Yeah, well, how bittersweet it is to finally go home, all banged up, no way to contact her friends on the other side, and now being like, hey mom, I'm back. And yeah, that was season 2 of The Owl House. In summary, one of the greatest seasons of television in history.
I would definitely agree with that. I'm not sure where it would rank overall on my favorite shows list, but it's up there. It is definitely in the top 10.
Season 2 alone is like a 10 out of 10. I gave season 1 a 9. This season 2 is a masterpiece. Like literally no episode misses. There's not a single episode that I would be like I would not consider less than great.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I can't think of any for sure.
Now the the only thing we have left to do is to clasp our hands together and pray towards Dana that they're able to satisfyingly conclude this whole thing in just 3 double-length episodes / 6 normal length worth of episodes.
I still, I know it's not going to happen, but there's this far-flung dream in my head that somehow they'll be able to get the rat to give them like just one more extra length episode and be able to resolve more plot points more satisfyingly. A man can dream.
Yeah, we can only dream, we can only hope, just like we can only dream and hope that you, viewer, will subscribe to the channel, like the video, let us know in the comments what you thought of the Owl House Season 2, if how you're excited for Season 3, how you think it's gonna go down. Please, viewer, we know you're not actually watching this because we see the analytics. We know YouTube is suppressing this video hard. Owl House fans, please come into clutch on this one. At least show up for the Season 3 cast. You know, like, we get crumbs off of these, and we're doing this. If we didn't like this show, like, we straight up would not, it would not benefit us to continue making these podcasts on the Owl House if it weren't a masterpiece.
If it were a bad show, I'd be begging and pleading for you to stop making me watch it.
Now, here's an interesting last little tidbit, once again only relevant to us, maybe less so the audience. How does it compare to March Comes Like a Lion for our big show exchange?
I'm honestly not entirely sure. And I think I'll come to a more final consensus many years down the line. They definitely both tried to do very different things, and that's part of why they're so hard to compare in my mind. But like they both do so well at what they're each trying to do that, you know, it is a tough competition. And to be fair, like I'm also one of those guys that just doesn't have their favorites list figured out very often. I mostly have a bunch of shows that I rate a 10 out of 10, and then most of them I just don't know where they place.
Hey man,
Also,
I was gonna say I was like really close for a time to be like, maybe, you know, Dragon Ball Z, maybe it isn't my favorite anime of all time. Maybe, you know, Dragon Maid or something is like finally going to supplant it now that it's like been long enough. And then I watched the Dragon Ball superhero movie in theaters and I'm reminded all over again why Dragon Ball Z is the GOAT. So it's like, man, maybe I don't have my favorites list as figured out as I do.
I'll probably come to a clearer consensus later on down the line. For now, though, I'll probably keep claiming Sangatsu no Lion as my favorite show, just because March Comes In Like a Lion came in clutch for me and was like, it's a super powerful show with a lot of big, high emotions. And I'll definitely say Sangatsu no Lion is a lot more emotional than the Owl House, even though I did also feel a lot of things while watching the Owl House. It's like, Sangatsu no Lion, it hits, man. Although, I do wonder which is the more entertaining of the two. Because, I mean, in terms of, like, comedy, I'd definitely say the Owl House fucking clears Sangatsu no Lion. So, that is something I do wonder about.
Alright, who has to die in the Owl House to make it a cry to get as emotional as something like March Comes Like a Lion?
If they do it right, pretty much most of the big important characters, like
So you're telling
King,
me if they kill
Eda,
Eda in the
Luz.
right way.
Oh yeah, I would be. I mean, I don't cry often while watching shows, but I would
Neither do I.
feel horrible watching it. So yeah, that could absolutely match Sangatsu no Lion in terms of emotions.
Yeah, if Owl House makes me cry, then I will probably have it supplant Steven Universe as my favorite cartoon of all time, because Steven Universe, that shit made me cry.
So you still
times.
you still do have Steven Universe as your favorite cartoon so far?
Yeah, my top 3 favorite cartoons of all time in order are Steven Universe, BoJack Horseman, and 1999 to 2004 SpongeBob.
So not even top 3.
Well, to be fair, my top 2 favorite cartoons are done and are complete. Even though I'm technically cheating by only using a portion of SpongeBob that is getting less and less of a big like fraction of SpongeBob as time goes on. But all of those are 10 out of 10, and Owl House is, I can only give it a 10 with confidence once it's over. Like right now, it's like at 10 out of 10 level, but I cannot finally slap the final seal of quality on it until it's finished. So, time will tell whether it like enters the hollowed halls of my top 3. It's all dependent on that ending, bro.
Well, that does make me a bit more curious to watch Steven Universe. Although I am mega spoiled on Steven Universe. I know all the twists.
Yeah, that will probably dampen the experience, but watching Steven Universe week to week was probably my favorite experience with television at all time, because it was also it was also happening right before TV finally fucking died and streaming killed it.
You say week to week. Wasn't it more like month to month after all those hiatuses?
Yeah. Hey man, bro, they were fucking wild, and they did these things called Steven bombs, and they dropped a new episode for like every weeknight for like a whole week, and they did it like several times throughout the show's duration. And I was like, god damn! I had never seen anything like it. Like I'd be coming off of the high of like one super plot relevant episode, and I'd be like, there's a fucking other one tomorrow? In retrospect, it would explain why the hiatuses would last for months to even a year. But you know, Steven Universe hearted me for the Owl House hiatuses, and I thank it for that.
I mean, I'm sure the Owl House hiatuses were nothing compared to the Steven Universe ones.
God, fuck no, dude. That was the hardest part about being a Steven Universe fan outside of associated... well, not by choice, but of being forced to share a favorite show with some abhorrent individuals. But that's a story for another day. And this has gone on way longer than anticipated, but you know what? That's just what happens when you have such a good show. We didn't even get a chance to talk about all of like the good stuff, like how Luz is like so quick to just befriend Kikimora and try to help her with her problem after everything. We didn't talk about
the new openings.
Yeah, I didn't talk about the new openings, the new ending themes. I'm sure there's other things we didn't talk about, maybe some B plots that got lost in the shuffle. But you know what? When we can talk about a show and praise it, pretty much do nothing but praise it for 3 hours at a time, and still be like, oh, but we didn't even talk about X, Y, and Z. That's how you know you have a fucking masterpiece on your hands.
I mean, to praise everything in this show that is worthy of praise would be to literally make a podcast twice the length of the show itself.
Maybe someday. I'm looking forward to the 10-hour Owl House analysis videos.
I'm sure someone will make them. Someone made one for Death Note.
Alright, so to make sure that this podcast finally comes to a close, we're doing it. We're drawing the line right here. Tune in tomorrow. The episode, thanks to them, is airing tonight at the time of you watching this, hopefully, please, dear God. And we're talking about, thanks to them, tomorrow, Sunday, October 16th. So, you tune the fuck in. Subscribe, like, comment, but mainly subscribe. I'm Neon Manta.
And I'm Crunchy Bagels.
This has been Castaway Anime. You will see us next time.